I had a strange thought today. I wanted to visit every major milestone in my life before lunch. This is my childhood home, Ingham Avenue in Lackawanna, New York. I lived here until 1977. It was beige when I lived here. It's gray now. My grandmother lived upstairs, along with my two uncles, and we lived in the lower section of the house. We had no privacy doors. The rooms were separated by accordion doors. The night that we were moving, the very last night I spent in this house, I could hear my mother crying in the living room. Now, it happened to be the same week that Elvis died. So I don't know if she was crying because Elvis had just died, or if this was the last night she was spending here. Either way, she was brokenhearted, but I was excited. And we moved when I was just about 11 years old. Let's go on. This is St. Anthony's Parish. It's 1/2 mile away from where I lived on Ingham Avenue. It's closed now. My parents were married here. I was baptized here. And my firstborn son was baptized here also. Now this is Lehigh. That's the name of the street. As a kid, I was forbidden to go to Lehigh. I could go across the street as far down as the church, but Lehigh was a bridge too far. So it's only in my adult life that I've come up and down this road. I've never walked it. I'm making the turn onto Ridge Road. And it's off of Ridge Road where the future of everything really began. This is the Our Lady of Victory Basilica on the right, where I was married in 1996. And I met my wife, Linda, at the school right behind it. So a mile away from the church is where my wife grew up. And this is her street in Lackawanna. I must have turned down this street over 1,000 times in my life. And some of my favorite memories began right here at this restaurant, which is still standing. Our local theater a block away didn't survive. That was called the Town Theater. So we would have our dinner and our movie date right at the top of her street just about. I'm on Abbott Road now. And the house I moved to after Ingham was a mile away from Linda's, and that's on a street called Bedford. So I lived here from 1977 until the day I was married in 1996. We lived on the lower flat, and my grandmother and two uncles eventually joined us around 1980 or 81, I think. Took them a while to let go of Ingham. My friends were across the street and around the corner, but it was here where my interests really flourished. I thought I'd be a comedian. I love Johnny Carson. I grew into my love of Elvis here. I ran a business out of my parents' garage. Great times. I just was always anxious to get to the next chapter. I wish I would have appreciated the chapter that I was in a little more. I lived right across the street from my high school. And before heading to the next house, I want to drive through the parking lot. The school's under heavy construction right now. I can't get through. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I guess all the caution tape and the heavy equipment wasn't obvious enough to me that this was not a through road at this point. So now the distance between the house I just left on Bedford and the first house that I lived in when I was married is about 3 miles. It's the longest stretch of the journey. Up to this point, I only lived in Lackawanna, New York until 1996. And then I moved to South Buffalo. Everything seemed a lot bigger, further away when I was younger. I've crossed between Lackawanna and Buffalo. Right now I'm driving on the border. I'm on McKinley Parkway, and that's where I lived when I first got married. And I still live off of McKinley Parkway. So Sheffield Avenue, I moved here, as I said, after we were married from the Bedford house. I moved right here, and we never had a bad day here at Sheffield. We hosted our first Halloween here, our first Thanksgiving. Special memory that I have here is we were remodeling the bathroom when we decided to move. And I was installing a medicine cabinet in the bathroom, but before I installed it, I inscribed in the wall, along with my wife, the dates that we lived here and the happiness that we shared, and wishing the new owners, whoever discovers the writing, the same. Now, across the street from Sheffield is where I currently live. This is Coolidge Road. One day I was coming home from late night at work. I saw a for sale by owner sign on the property. We inquired, and that began the road here. So when I started this drive, I thought I was revisiting old houses, but I was really revisiting the chapters of my life. And what surprised me wasn't how close the houses were, but how close a meaningful life could be.